Hello, good people. At the time of this recording, it is January 2nd, 2025. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you had a wonderful holiday break, whether you celebrated Christmas, Kwanzaa, or you didn't celebrate anything at all. You just took some time to enjoy yourself. Um, this is the first Beyond a Bachelor show of 2025, and I'm super excited. If you are looking at this on the screen, don't forget to go to our YouTube channel where you will be able to see all previous episodes and recordings of the Beyond the Bachelor show. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. This is how I get more content out there. There's more people who are trying to identify what they're going to do beyond a bachelor's degree. I'm really excited about today's episode. I got a presentation, y'all. And so for those of you all who are watching this live or in the recording, you'll be able to see the actual slide presentation. And if you're just listening to the audio of this, I'm going to go through every single thing. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Dr. Justin Grimes, and today I want to talk about this topic: 5 ridiculous myths about pursuing a graduate degree. Y'all, there's some things that people say and put out there about grad school that it's just wrong. It's just full of all types of inaccurate information or incomplete information. And so I want to dispel some of the myths that exist about pursuing a graduate degree in hopes that when you hear all of these myths at the conclusion of this conversation today, that you will feel more confident with your decision to apply to graduate school. There's no need for us to linger any longer. Let's go ahead and get into them. Number one, before we get started with any of this, I want to make sure that you're clear about the work that I do as the founder and owner of Apply to Graduate School. And I'm not the only one. There are some other folks who work with me. And our mission is very clear: to make graduate education more equitable and accessible for all individuals. Our goals is to help you to find a flexible graduate program for my working professionals, because I know a lot of you all, you don't got the time to be trying to do this thing full-time in person without some considerable income and support. You need something that's flexible to meet your work schedule. And for those of you all who may be going back to school, who may be finna graduate very soon or already graduated, and you're kind of in this gap year or time period in life where you can go back to school full-time and hopefully get some money, we're here to support you. And so let's get into today's discussion: the 5 ridiculous myths about pursuing graduate degree. I'm curious. Let's take a moment. What have you heard about applying to graduate school? Did you believe it? Who told it to you? Did you do anything to confirm that what they shared was actually true? Or did you say, maybe kinda, but did you not explore it at all? Regardless of what your decision was when you heard the information, today you are going to leave full of knowledge about what actually happens, who actually goes to school, how much does it cost, do people get money, is it like undergrad? We got 5 topics, y'all, and let's just go and get into it. Myth number 1: you're too old to pursue a graduate degree. Who told you that you were too old? Because really a lot of this conversation around being too old to go to graduate school is based in assumption about who actually goes. Now just take a moment, and I want you to think about your image of a master student. What does that person look like? What are their physical features? What is their race or ethnicity? What is their gender or sex? What is the age? When you think about this person, where are they located? Are they in the United States? Are they in Canada? Are they in South America? Are they in Europe, Asia? Like, when you think about pursuing a graduate degree and a master's more specifically, what does that person look like? Cool. Now let's go to doctoral degrees. What does that person look like? Law degree. What does that person look like? Other professional degrees. What do those individuals look like? And we're going to focus on the myth number one, which is the age of people being too old. Who told you you were too old? You're not too old. I know that we have been led to believe, or we like to believe, that the individuals who are pursuing these degrees are undergrad, all fresh out of undergrad, that everybody has just been doing this. And for some of you all who have a little more knowledge, you know that, okay, certain degrees require you to have a certain amount of years work experience. And you assume everybody has the minimal amount. But wouldn't it be helpful to have some actual information, some like statistics, some like data, truth to help you clarify this myth? 17.3% of all post-secondary students are enrolled in graduate programs. That means of all the people who pursue degrees in higher education in a post-secondary institution that offers graduate programs, y'all, a little less than 18% of the people who are enrolled there are in grad school. That's not a lot of people. So when we start talking about enrollment and age and who's present, note that we're talking about a small population of the enrolled students within higher education. But you want to know, hey, Dr. Grimes, Justin, give me the specifics. I want to know. I'm 32. I'm 45. I'm 67. Should I not? Because I don't know if people my age are going back to school. Yes, they are. Okay. Let's get into the specifics of the numbers. It says here, and I'm going to break this down by full-time and part-time based on the graph of what we have here. And this comes from the National Center of Educational Statistics. If you're going to trust any document, any website, any data, this is the one to trust. I'm not making this up. This is what they report on their website. From full-time and part-time graduate student enrollment by age. For full-time students, the average under 25 is 35%. For part-time, it is 12%. If you are between the ages of 25 and 29, and you're thinking about doing this full-time, that percentage of students in that age group is 34%. Those who do it part-time are 26%. For those who are in their 30s and you are thinking about pursuing a graduate school or a graduate degree, full-time, 20% of all those enrolled are between the ages of 30 and 39 for full-time. For part-timers, the age group of 30 to 39 makes up 33%. So looking at this, it seems like a whole lot of people between the ages of 30 and 39 are deciding to pursue it. And y'all, the magic number is 33. Okay. That's about the average. Now, for those of you who are like me, we 40 and over, we grown. The average age of 40 and over, the average percentage, forgive me, of 40 and over is 11% full-time and 29% part-time. So right there, we've got the information to indicate to us that the age ranges vary. There is no specific particular age range. Again, I just want to zoom in this again. You can screenshot this if you're watching this live on the recording, or you can just rewind back on your phone if you're listening to the audio. So my point is this, is that who's old? Who too old to go to school? You? No. You can go back. You are at the perfect age to get your master's or your doctoral degree or your professional degree. I don't know who told you that there's a certain age that you have out-aged yourself, like you don't meet the minimum age limit requirement. This is not a driver's license. This is not pursuing getting alcohol or cigarettes or any of those things. We're talking grad school, y'all. You can do this. You have the ability to do this. I don't know who told you you were old, but I don't see it. I see a person who's at the perfect age. All right. Myth number 2, you have to be the smartest person in the room. Who told you you got to be the smartest? Okay, listen. Do you need to have some level of intelligence, some resiliency, some gifts and some skill sets? Absolutely, if you're going to pursue a graduate degree. Do you have to be the smartest person in the room? No, you do not. Because I know there's somebody out there watching or listening and saying, but I don't got a 310. GRE score. My LSAT score was a 600. You know, my GPA is below a 3.5, and they don't let nobody into this highly competitive program less than a 3.5. How do you know that to be true? There are a number of individuals that pursue graduate degrees who do not meet the minimum requirements or the standard that is listed on the program's website. They actually make room for what some may call wild cards. Like in the NFL, they got wild cards, people whose record and whose number of wins don't meet the standard to be the automatic bid into the playoffs. They got to play a wild card game. They got to find their way in and prove themselves. This happens in graduate school. You may not got to prove yourself to the same degree, but I am stating to you that they make room for this because they know that even the folks who have the best looking resumes and best transcripts, I'm talking 4.0s and better. If it's better, I don't know. But they have high GPAs, they have high test scores, GMAT, LSAT, GRE. It is not a guarantee for success. It is not a guarantee for completion. You need much more if you're going to get to the end of this thing, okay? And so, again, the myth is that you have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't got to be the smartest person in the room. But you do have to have a high level of persistence. You've got to be the type of person that's got a drive like nobody else. And when you see something, you're going to go for it. You're going to get it. That's persistence. You are going to have to be the type of person that is highly disciplined, because there are specific parts of this and stages of this process that are beyond your control. But there are parts that are in your control, and you're going to have to be disciplined to read those articles, to add your comments on that chat, to add your comments on the discussion board, to submit your assignments on time, to constantly go to the lab and check on your experiments, to have to go out of the country to do your research or to present at conferences, to make sure that you're prepared for your comprehensive exams, your oral defense, to write a dissertation prospectus to be approved for IRB, to fill out the IRB application. It requires a high level of discipline, and you have to be able to think critically. Grad school is not for folks who just like to be consuming information and scroll like they're on IG or TikTok watching videos. That is not critical thinking. That you take that information, you form an opinion and say, I think I get that. No, there is some form of information you're getting that could be helpful. But we're talking about the folks who really want to create or who want to contribute. You know, I've said this time and time again about the 3 C's of education. Undergrad, bachelor's degrees, we are consumers. We take in a bunch of information, we give it back out. And master's degrees, you are contributors. Your expectation is for you to contribute to the body of knowledge and research and information that we know within your given field of study and within your given jobs. And at the doctoral level, your law level, your expectation is to create new policy, create new research, create new information. And so you don't have to be the smartest person to do that. But if you are the smartest person, don't you ever apologize for being that smart. If you are, don't apologize for being smart. If you are 4.0, weigh your 4.0 very high. If you are 2.9, weigh your 2.9. Don't be scared and nervous. You are more than your score, okay? You're so much more than that. And decisions are made beyond that. This is how decisions are made. Decisions are made by admissions committees looking at your goals and your interests, your test scores, or your GPA and GRE, GPA, GRE, those things, your application, your essay and your personal statement, your experiences and your resume. There are a lot of components to applying to graduate school that decision makers are looking at. And it's not just one particular thing. And so you may be saying to yourself or heard the myth that, only people who reach these scores get in. That is not always the case. And further evidence is that not everybody finished. If that was the case and everybody don't finish, it's some interesting decisions being made. Here's my actual insight about this and thoughts about this. When admissions committees are making decisions on who to admit, they don't know the outcome. Y'all, it's a 50% chance that this person is actually who they say they are, has all the gifts and the skills, and are actually going to be able to complete this degree. They do not know. They cannot predict life. They cannot predict a lot of things. Faculty leave. Some people work good for certain dissertations, some people don't. Some people were a good fit for this master's program, and some people quit. You don't know. Okay? So do not sell yourself short. If you don't meet the standard, but you don't meet the academic standard, but you meet the resiliency standard, the persistence standard, the discipline, the consistency standard, then go ahead and apply. Okay? Myth number 3, everyone gets their degree paid for. Who told y'all that? I know this is out there a lot. If you go back to school, you shouldn't have to pay for it. You know, if at the doctoral level, the master's level, they should be paying for it. You know, everybody who goes to get a PhD receives full funding. Lies and deceit. Not every single one. Everyone, like every single person. Let's just take a moment to pause and think about that. You're telling me that every person who pursues a PhD gets funding. Okay. Here's some bonus questions and things to consider. And I talk about this in the book, but I tell people this that I work with my clients. If you are applying to programs that do offer funding, ask them, how long does the funding last? Because let's say you get funding and it's attached to a grant that this faculty member has, but you enter in at year 2 of a 4-year grant. And the program is 4 years, who gonna pay for the other 2? Yeah, it says fully funded when you start, but is it through the entirety of your graduate degree program, the whole duration? Number 2, the second question or thought to consider is, what do you got to do to keep the funding? How many hours a week do you got to work? What type of research do you need to produce? What types of things are required of you or expected of you to be there? If you're working in a lab, what are the lab expectations? What are the rules and procedures for the lab manager versus who the faculty member is, who's providing the research opportunity through the grant or through the fellowship? Like, you got to ask some more questions about the money. Even if your job is paying for it, what are the employer required of you to get employee assistance? Now, I know you're like, nah, but that's what they said, Dr. Grimes. Okay, cool. Let's get to some information to support this. Many students take out student loans, with most funding going to PhD students. Now, that is a fact. A lot of funding does not go to master students. You are revenue generating for the institution. I know that about to hurt some people's feelings. I know some faculty members who are going to hear this going to be mad at me for exposing the truth. You are revenue generating. Understand that. Especially a lot of the online programs. Especially a lot of the for-profit. It's for-profit. We need you to enroll. We need you to pursue the degree so that we can make money and sustain our business. Now, a lot of public institutions are non-for-profits, but they still need to exist. How are they going to pay for faculty and buildings and facilities and data and software and subscription? How are they going to pay for that? They need you to enroll, okay? And so funding means that there is a source of income dedicated either from the institution, which is money out to pay for your education. You think they're going to take a financial hit for your education? No, ma'am, no, sir, no person. No. It's still a business, okay? And majority of people take out loans. And you're like, okay, but can you talk to me a little bit more about the funding piece and like who gets the money? Absolutely. And before we get to that, my question to you is, what's your plan to pay for grad school? If your plan is to apply and to get someone else to pay for it, whether it be an employer, whether it be a particular grant, maybe an NSF grant, or certain types of fellowships, cool. But I just want you to have a plan. I don't want you to go into this with the excitement and enjoyment of being like, I'm going to go get this MED. I'm going to get my master's in social work. I'm going to get my MPA. I'm going to go to PT school. I'm going to get my law degree without a plan. There's so many people who aren't able to buy the house they want, to get the car they want, even the jobs they want, because the amount of student loans shows that they have a higher debt to income ratio, which means they are a financial risk. Thus, they're not able to get the things. So even if they are getting a car, they pay more for the car because of their loan, because they got so much debt. And what is one of the top debts that people have besides credit cards? Student loans. So let's get to some numbers. Around 60 to 80% of PhD students in the United States receive some form of funding, such as research assistantships, teaching assistantships, fellowships, or grants. So yes, at the PhD level, a lot of folks get money to go. But just because they're getting money to go does not mean that it's able to sustain their life. It doesn't mean it's a living wage. If you look at Inside Higher Ed, the Chronicle of Higher Education, NBC, CBS, and they talk about graduate student unions or graduate students, you're going to probably hear a lot of students talk about, well, it's not enough to live. And so you gotta begin to ask some questions. Now, for some of them, it is. Now, there's some folks I know they get some big money. There's some people I went to school with who are making more money, whose stipends, whose grants were more money than when they were working full time. So let that sit in for you. There are some people who literally are getting to the bag, and school is financially better for them. Okay. About 20 to 40% of master students receive partial or full funding. So yeah, you pursue a master's degree, some people do. I was fortunate to have an assistantship that gave me full funding, and I didn't have to take out any student loans. And that was rare. Okay. And so there are a number of people who are getting funding for master's degree, but again, I told y'all it's high revenue generating for institutions. Generally, under 20% of professional degrees, law, MBA, medicine, receive full funding. I know we super excited when we see that person got into med school and law school, or they're about to pursue their MBA. But y'all, there's a whole nother side to this that I want you to strongly consider beyond the bachelor's, which goes back to my previous slide. And point was, what's your plan to pay for it? That's a lot. That's not a lot of, that's 1 in 5 people. Okay. Most EDD students use student loans or employer assistance to pay for school. So for those people who are pursuing their educational doctorate, majority of them pay for their degree. Okay. Or they get some type of support from their institution, from their employer, which is great when you can get that. Federal loans are a significant source of aid for graduate students, with $39 billion dispersed annually, followed by institutional grants at $13.4 billion. It's a lot of money. I want you to sit with that. More money is given in the form of student aid, financial aid, than it is in the forms of grants. It's a big financial decision, y'all, to decide to go to graduate school. I don't want this to scare you and make you say, well, if I can't get the money to go, I shouldn't do this. No, that's where I come in offering strategies and giving you insider information on where you can go get the bag, or where you can go get the scholarships and the grants and the fellowships. I'm providing that type of information to the people that work with me to say, listen, there's money out here, and let's organize, let's strategize how we're going to get you the types of money to help pay for your degree. Because I don't want you to find yourself with either more student loan debt or entering into the student loan debt group, fraternity, sorority, whatever you want to call it. Okay. There's money out here, y'all. It's money out here. And people assume that everybody's getting money, but people also assume that most folks can't find money. But they can. It's going to take some intention. Myth number 4, graduate school is just as easy as undergrad. Who told you that? No, it's not. Listen, no, it is not undergrad. There's a different level of expectation. In undergrad, let's be honest, how long are your papers? How much reading do you actually do? And I ask students this all the time. I say, what's the longest paper you've written? Maybe like 8 pages, maybe 14, 20. I said, do you understand in grad school, that's a week? Like that's the expectation for some assignments for the week. How many articles or books did you have to read? We read one book over the whole thing. Do you know you might be reading one book every week or 2 weeks, depending on the program? It's not undergrad at all. The expectation is higher. The amount of work you will do is much more. Is it doable? Absolutely. Okay. There's so much in this. I'm sorry, the image isn't coming clear, but what Kim K was sharing was um that law school is a lot of work and there's so much more reading to do, and she's dying over here. She didn't know that it was going to be this, but I'm telling you now, as you're listening to me, that graduate school requires a lot of reading, y'all. A lot of reading. Okay. You can't see fully behind me, but there are books here on either side of me. Okay. I just got rid of about 20 books from my doctoral program in like November, December, somewhere around there. It's a lot to read. But here's the beauty of it though. It's stuff you want to read because you're in a phase of learning about a specific topic. This is not like undergrad where you're reading this for comp and then you got to go work on differential equations or calculus, and then you got to go do the anthropology assignment, and then you also got your fraternity meeting or your sorority meeting, your leadership meeting, and then you got to work on this experiment. It's not a bunch of things that are unrelated. In grad school, you are studying, researching, learning about things that are all related to the field of study that you are exploring for that degree. Okay. It's to help you grow professionally. It is the greatest form of professional development that exists. It's the longest form of professional development that exists. Okay. You are getting intellectual development. You are gaining insider knowledge about a topic more than most people know. Yeah, anybody can go on Google and find information, but everybody doesn't understand it. Anybody can say you should or should not get a vaccination, but do you understand the studies that led to the vaccination? Do you understand the chemicals and the words that you read on the back of a food label? Do you understand that? There's somebody who understands that very well. There's a difference between going on WebMD and actually talking to a physician with the credentials in the background. This is what grad school is. All them 20 books was stuff I was interested in, or it was helping me to understand something I needed to know better. Okay? It's not random. So I don't want the amount of reading to scare you, but I do want to prepare you that it is a lot, y'all. Okay? But man, it was some good stuff that I read. Oh man. I mean, truly, I hate to get rid of some of the books, and some of them are outdated because I started school like 10 years ago. So they're new editions. Okay. The last myth number 5, I don't have time for graduate school. Y'all, we were going to make time for things we want to. Did y'all hear the story about Desmond Durham? Desmond Durham is a 36-year-old single father. He pursued a master's degree in educational leadership at Montclair State University. This man is he had 3 jobs. He was a teacher by trade. That's his thing he do for the 9 to 5. And then outside of that, he's a GED coach. He helps people who want to get their GED. And then he also is a coach of a couple of sports leagues because he wants to help students and kids from underserved communities get access to sports. 3 jobs. Single father pursuing a master's degree. Don't tell me you don't have time. You have time. And his ultimate goal is to be a principal because you will make time and prioritize what matters to you. We will make time, and I'm including this. We will make time to stream the things we want to stream. During the break, during the holiday break, December, there was a whole lot of things streaming. Beyonce, Squid Game, certain TV shows, sports events, new seasons of things. People were watching things they hadn't seen ever. Like, streaming numbers were up during the holiday break. People's engagement on social media is high. We have an addiction to social media. People will make time during the holidays to go see their family and their friends and hang out. And we spend a lot of our time at work. We make time for the things that we seem and think are valuable. Okay? And I know that if you want to pursue a graduate degree, you will find the time. And you will get the help you need to accomplish the goals you want to achieve. And I know that the bachelor's experience is one thing, but when we're exploring beyond the bachelor's, we're entering it with a different mindset. The 17-year-old you who applied in high school to different colleges is not the 23 version of you. It's not the 30-year-old version of you. The 28-year-old version of you or the 35 version of you who applied and pursued your master's degree is not the same person at 53, at 61. You've got some more life experiences. You've got some more knowledge. You have a better understanding of your goals. You know exactly what you want to do. That's the beauty of it for my working professionals, for individuals who have been out of school for a number of years and you're nervous about keeping up with the amount of pace, having capacity to do graduate school, fitting it into your schedule and your time, working through imposter syndromes and fears around writing and being too old and other myths that I've named. Let me tell you something about what you bring to the table. You bring wisdom. See, critical thinking happens a lot more as we age. We begin to analyze and think about things in different ways. And so that's one of the beauties of what you bring when you go to grad school now at a different age or an older age is that you see the world much differently. Your thoughts about things, the types of questions you ask are from a more detailed and in-depth way. They're not just random. You're not just trying to showboat and show that you know things. You're not trying to break the curve. You're not trying to get always the highest score. There are a lot of you all. I know. You was a 4.0, you want a 4.0, you want a 4.0, you want a 4.0 now. I get that. And that's a beautiful thing. But I am saying that the reason why you're deciding to do this is more thought out than it was previously. The outcomes, the goals, the things you want to achieve, the promotions you want to have obtain, the things you want to do next in your career. The career shift that you're making now by going into a whole different field of study or the merging of multiple fields and interest. That person in undergrad wasn't thinking about that. And for my undergrads who are listening to me and saying, well, I'm an undergrad and you're talking about the older folks, well, what am I bringing to the table? You're bringing the resiliency and the completion. Because here's the thing that regardless of your age, when you finish your bachelor's degree, you have indicated to the world and society and to yourself that you can complete things, that you can do difficult things, that you can manage multiple different areas of knowledge and information. You can absorb that information, you can consume that information, and you can share it out. You have proven to yourself that there is no test, nothing that's going to get in the way from you achieving the goals that you want. You've spent 3-4 years doing this, or 2 years if you transfer some hours in. Regardless, you just can't wake up and say, today I want to get a bachelor's degree and I'm going to buy it on Amazon. No, you got to put work in. You got to put time in. And that is what every single one of you, especially my undergrads, bring to the table. It's still fresh for you. Your energy levels is probably a little bit higher, right? You're not juggling as often as many responsibilities as some of the older graduate students are. They're not old grad students, older individuals pursuing graduate school, okay? And so because I know you can do this, I want you to sit with the 5 myths again. Myth number 1, you're too old to pursue a graduate degree. Myth number 2, you have to be the smartest person in the room. Myth number 3, that everyone gets their graduate degree paid for. Myth number 4, that graduate school is just as easy as undergrad. And myth number 5, I don't have time for grad school. These are all myths, y'all. And I have dispelled that you are not too old or not too young, that you don't have to be the smartest, but you do have to be disciplined and resilient, that everybody doesn't get their degree paid for. A percentage of people do. Majority of funding goes to graduate students, but a lot of people take out student loans. That graduate school is just as easy as undergrad. It is not. It requires much more work out of you, but it's the type of work that you're going to enjoy, that you're going to like, because it's subject matter that you're interested in. And then number 5, you don't have time for school because you make time for everything else. You can make this fit within your schedule. It is going to require you to potentially get up early or stay up later. It's going to require you to say no a lot more often. It's going to have you to, if you don't use a calendar, you're going to find yourself using the calendar now. If you don't put things down on paper often, you might start putting things down on paper now. But you can do this. And at Apply to Graduate School, we just want you to be successful at doing this. We don't want you to come into this process randomly selecting a program that isn't a good fit, that doesn't meet your goals and your needs, that doesn't align with the things that you want to accomplish in your life. And so, if you are needing some assistance with applying, figuring out how to pay for grad school, how to write a personal statement, figuring out preparation for GRE, and so you can get a good score, or changing or elevating your career and using a graduate degree, like you're really trying to think, how is this going to help me next? And you're not quite sure. That is what Apply to Graduate School is here for. That's what I am here for. And I want to help you get in and thrive in graduate school. I've been blessed and gifted with a lot of knowledge and expertise in this area. And it's my service to the world to share with people and to help people get into grad school. Welcome to 2025. Thank you for attending, watching, listening to the kickoff of 2025 Beyond the Bachelor show. We got a lot of guests that are going to be coming in this year. I can't wait for you to hear them. I'm talking folks who have been working for a number of years and then decide to go pivot to something different. Folks who had to go through multiple graduate programs because programs kept closing or they were engaging in some type of, just terrible decision making as a business. There are all types of folks whose stories I want to share. Stories of parents, single mothers, single fathers, partnered folks. And I want to talk to the people who are in it live right now. So with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful 2025. Stay tuned to more coming out from Beyond the Bachelors. And for my working professionals, I haven't forgot about you. You're the ones that I'm really going to be spending some intentional time with, because I want to help the people who work for a living find programs, flexible programs that meet their needs and goals. And for my college students, I ain't forgot about you either. I know you're juggling it a lot, and I'm here to help you too. Y'all have a wonderful rest of the evening, wonderful day, and be blessed. And tune in next week to the Beyond the Bachelor show. And check out our newsletter that comes out every Friday, Beyond the Bachelors. Make sure you subscribe to that. And visit the website, applytograduateschool.com, for a number of resources, for support, to learn more about the work we're doing and how we're here to help you. Have a good one.